All right, can you hear me now? How is this? Is this better? Is there audio? Is it really loud? That's really funny. All right, well, good to have everybody here. I'm going to go ahead and start working on what I'm working on today, which is adding TipTap. Also, don't judge me, Jesse, because ever since I started writing PHP, let's see what we got here. Got to add the mic over here as well. There we go. Laravel and my Neo Vim setup is just not nice, but I'm using Vim mode, if that makes you feel better, Jesse. All right. Let's go ahead and get the site going. Then I can talk through what we're doing today. So this is, it's so bright. I am streaming on, I'm using Restream. So it like pushes it out to Twitch, YouTube, and X. So I'm on all the places. But this was, okay, so this is that working? Oh, it is. It's so subtle now. I changed it so it wasn't so crazy. You see that little blob moving when I hover over it? So working on, also, I didn't realize it was happening on every page change too. I'll have to think about that. I did this thing to where like I set up like colors and they change based on like a randomized thing. So like I have like color palettes that are color based. So like every time I reload, everything updates based on that. Okay, so this is like made for me, which is like this directory site that I'm building in Laravel, and the whole goal of this site is to be able to have like this really nice directory of software products that have soul, like designs that feel personal and are not just like clinical or just like quote unquote scalable and consistent, which it just means boring. So part of that means I need a way to be able to like create posts, and that's what I've been working on and learning Laravel on. So the next thing that I'm going to do is add a description, and this description is going to be like, needs to have bold and maybe images. I don't know. I think I'll probably keep images in like a slider at the top, which is what this media field is for. But we have this description field that needs to be WYSIWYG, and I'm going to use TipTap as what I'm building that with, and then we'll get started on that. Let me answer my wife. All right. So let's go ahead and go to here. We're going to go to our create post file. Is the text big enough for everybody? Can y'all see the code pretty good? I did all of this stuff based off of Josh Series video of like how to kind of set things up, and I'm doing like the 720p thing, so I don't have to like zoom all the stuff. It just is like naturally a pretty good size, which I like. One thing I noticed immediately, because I have not worked on responsive anything yet, is that the fields here are like smushed onto two lines, which I absolutely hate. That's not what I want. So what I'm going to do is change that. There we go. Let's just delete this word. Then we'll go down and delete this one as well. And that's nicer. I think name and URL. I'm really going to be the only one in here, but of course I'm going to like try to design things as if love the sidebar. Thanks, man. I mean the one in your app, not your editor. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Let's see how we want to handle this description editor. First, we need to add TipTap. I implemented TipTap multiple times at this point, but they've all, like, I've done it, like I did it once like 4 or 5 years ago, and then I did it once another time a couple more years ago. What? Oh my goodness. This is crazy now. This is completely new. Is it priced now? Free for developers exploring collaborative editing for businesses. Whoa. What happened to them? TipTap Cloud? Guys, I don't know if I'm using TipTap anymore. This is going to make me sad. Open source editor. I don't want collaboration, AI, or comments, or any of this stuff. So maybe I can still use it for free. Let's find out. I guess that means we need to sign up first. Nobody look. No, I'm just kidding. But really though, just in case, let's turn this off. Ain't nobody trying to have passwords get leaked. Looks like you do not have an active subscription. I don't want a subscription, my friend. I just want to be able to use this to build a free little editor like I have been. Oh my word. This is like so enterprisey now. This makes me sad. Am I just going to end up building a markdown one instead? Probably not. This is wild. I don't want an app. All right. Let's keep going. I don't want collaboration. I want the editor. Prosmere, token, blah, blah, blah. Implementing a template. Notion-like editor. Don't want that. Add extension for your editor. Beginners. Okay, so this is what I remember. How to set up and configure. It's been a minute, so let's go ahead and do this. Yeah, I remember all this. There's like it's very like extensible. Like you can come. It basically like you install the core, and then there's like this starter kit. Boom, there it is, the starter kit. And the starter kit basically gives you everything you would expect to have out of the box. And then like you can add. People have come up with like extra extensions for you already that you can just like plug in to it, or you can write your own. I've written my own a few times, and it's pretty fun. So let's go to install. We're gonna do React. Yeah. I already know what it is. Just let me... I don't need to create a whole project either, my friends. I just need the dependencies. There we go. This is what we want. Let's go here. And we'll install TipTap. There we go. And then we'll integrate it, which is to actually start using TipTap, we need to create a new component. Let's put the following example code in source TipTap. That's not where I'm going to put it, but floating menu. I don't want a floating menu. All right. I do want to add a new component though, just for this, and we're going to call this the editor. I'm going to change much of this, but it's nice to have a good starting point, so I get to type less. Was just AFK doing that background wallpaper. I was trying to make it like a Hyperlight Drifter background because, I mean, we all know Hyperlight Drifter is where it's at. Definitely want starter kit. We'll start with Hello World content for now. That's fine. It's like they don't even understand React. Export function. We don't want to call it TipTap. I want to call it the editor. Also, Jesse, I remapped, like you said, the caps lock to be super on hold and escape on just press, and it is just like, love it. It's so great. Okay, so we're going to close this because we don't want the editor anymore, or the Explorer, whatever it's called. How do we hide it? Go away. What's this button? What's the shortcut? B. There we go. That's nice. All right. So let's go back to here. We'll go find our description. And now let's add our editor component with carabiner, I assume. Yep. That is definitely what we did. Cool. Let's see what we get now. Here in... Did we get anything? Oh, we did. Huh. Okay. It was just like... Can I change this? Ooh, I can. Okay. So... now we're going to go... Actually, I wonder if I could find... wking. So I used to have... back in the day... Y'all can look in my private repo. Remix upgrade. Control panel. That's all old stuff. Let's see if it's in... I doubt I did a pull request on my own personal repo. But let's look just in case. Design, engineering apprenticeship, Cloudflare, redesign, adding guides, beta, remix upgrade. I bet it is on this branch. Just because this is old. Let's find out. App. Routes. Nope. That's not going to be it either. Adding in sitemap, adding images, adding RSS to the site, adding form updates. Ooh, yes. Okay, so here we go. I bet some of these will have it. Now let's go to, man, it's weird browsing on this big of a size. There's a, what's a shortcut for this? I thought that's what it was. Perfect. That'll make it better than popping that sidebar out a bunch. All right, fixing issues with form updates and the content. Content is going to be, okay. Create memory, upload handler, tag validator. Yeah, I did like tags and all sorts of stuff. Library, yeah, mission control / content slug. Perfect. And then there should be a way to, there we go, we can view the file. Content form. I wonder if I can browse the repo at this time. We'll just go here. And we're going to go. Yes, here we go. This is what we want. This is what we want, people. Editor. All right. So this is what I did because I had like code highlighting and all sorts of fun stuff. I had starter kit, highlight. We had links, code blocks, code, callouts, images. Callout was like a custom one that I wrote. And then I used it inside of mission control. Let's do the new. And then what I'm doing here is I'm specifically just coming in here to look at how I pulled out the data from the form. Content form. Well, it's all inside of features. Features, content. Okay. Yep. SVG paths of all the different things that I had. Menu buttons. Editor button. Editor button is just like which I'll probably pull that in as well. All right, we got our content editor. Oh man, I had a console log in here. I wonder how long that's been there. Okay, this is where we're getting. This is what we want. This allows us to pass the extensions in the content and props that we want to add to it. And then that gives us the ability, unless they've changed how everything works, in which case it seems very possible. Set image, set link. There we go. Editor root. I'm assuming that's going to have editor buttons. We have to have those. That's why we use the hook, is so we can have like a instance of the editor, and then we can run all these actions for different things. So like you can kind of see here where it's like, if the editor is available, focus this and toggle this, etc. This can check is basically which allows us to see like wherever we're currently highlighted in the document, can we run this action? And then it disables. And then like there's like active states. So I'm going to probably grab a bunch of this stuff because I really liked how the editor looked. And I should be able to pull just like most of this right out. Will. More components. Unless that's editor content. Nope, content form. Slug. Description. Featured image. Tag field. Related. Content editor. Yep. So that means editor form was probably brought in as well, wasn't it, Will? This is so exciting. I bet y'all are like, wow, what a cool project that we're just watching him. Okay, so that's just like the actual thing from. So how am I doing? Let's see if we can find name. Okay, so good. Content. If you add a name to the content editor that you get from, no, that's something that I added because we want to use the name. We need a way to be able to put this content into an input field, because the input field, I'm assuming it's probably like some hidden input field that just takes like editor dot something, if I had to make a guess. And I just need to find where I did that. Yep, right there, right after it. Input type hidden, and it stringifies the editor JSON. And then what we were doing in the background was storing this in a field in the database. Now the question is, what kind of field was I using? Because Postgres has these really nice JSON fields. The question is, did I put it in a JSON field or did I just store it as a string? Let's find out. This is very not Laravel because this is like a JavaScript project that I originally wrote this in, but we're going to port this over to Laravel. ID, description, state, content. Okay, so it was a JSON field. That's exciting. Stringify. That means I'm probably going to run into some fun issues with making sure that I can parse JSON and pass it through to the database. I'm sure there's super easy stuff in Laravel to do that. Just never done it before. Jesse did a couple more runs in Morta. That first spider boss seems... Yes, 100%. No, you are 1 billion% accurate. So without doing spoilers, it's like you've got to do some quite a few runs first and get some upgrades to like just be like better characters. And then the other thing that you have to do on top of that as well is unlock a couple more characters. So like even if you don't beat the boss, the more times you do like a run through the level. This is called Children of Morta. I was recommending it to Jesse. It's super fun. If any of y'all like kind of like Dark Souls-esque pixel games, so like Hyper Light Drifter is one of those. It's also kind of like Zelda Link to the Past type vibes. It's like a hack and slash type thing, but it's like beautiful pixel art and a really good storyline. And you make runs through like the level and you'll unlock more playable characters in the family, and some of them are like more keyed into like with that boss type and are better at fighting that boss than other characters. So I don't remember who I ended up beating the first boss with, but I do remember I had to like play through the levels a few times and get upgrades to like attack power and health and everything. Cool. Okay, so we got what we need. I'm gonna go to yeah, and we're just gonna grab what all we need from here and paste it in and make edits as we we want, because I'm gonna like put all this stuff in there, and then it's gonna be like, this doesn't work. All right, I don't need content state, but I do just need all of this. All of it. Give it to me. I don't know if I'll need a menu button, but we'll take it anyway just in case. Okay, let's come over here to our editor, and we're just about to blow all this out. All right, capital G is the bottom. Uppercase V to select, then GG to select all. Perfect. Yes, I figured that this would be very angry. And this is all on headless. This will be fun too. We're just gonna actually delete that because I think it'll probably be easier to, whoop, that's not what I wanted. Menu from headless React. Oh, do they not just have like the global menu anymore? Is it menu items? We're about to find out. For those of y'all that don't know, headless UI is like headless stuff done by the Tailwind team, Tailwind Labs. And I really like it doesn't add any styling or anything because I like design and doing it. But it's really great for getting some of these. Okay, so it does exist. That's what I thought. It's really great for getting some of that basic functionality that nobody wants to be rewriting from scratch every single time. And then we'll want menu button. What else do we want? I actually don't think the version 2 is so nice now. Because they do transition for you automatically. Just using like regular classes. And you don't have to write this like weirdly syntaxed transition component. Because they just have, you can add this transition here, and what you will end up writing is just like all of your classes in the thing itself. I just gotta remember how to do it. Let's look at how they do it. Menu button, menu items, transition, anchor. Anchor tells you where you want it to go. Oh, that's right. That's nice. All right, one sec. Allie's calling me. I'm gonna mute. Guys, my 5-year-old who has been like, Snack is like, who knew that Meals in general as a parent is just like the toughest thing. You're just like, every day you've got to think of 3 meals for an entire family, and it's just insanity. Then throw on top of that like snacks for school. And so like we've just been going through this thing where like our 5-year-old just changes their mind on like things they actually like to have for snack, mostly because like they're at school now and they see like what all their friends have. And so our 5-year-old just, I think she calls them juicy oranges, or wet oranges. But it's just like the little like mandarin oranges in the plastic cup that come like in like the little juice stuff. I know, snack friends, man. And and so we had got them over the weekend for her, and then I forgot that we got them, and I did not put them in her snack today. So she like just opened her snack for this morning, and Allie was calling to be like, "You forgot the juicy oranges," and now our 5-year-old is melting down. So that's on me. That's on me. I forgot the fancy oranges. Always changing the standards. I know, right? It's just not right. All right. We're going to set an anchor here. Let's see if we can get some help. Bottom start. That's what we want. That's the one we want. And I don't think we actually need to do all of this stuff. So we used to, like with the version 1, you had to like absolutely position everything yourself. I'm getting distracted because I don't even know if I'm going to be needing any of this. So let's just delete this for right now. That feels like a great start. That's like my favorite thing to do, honestly, is like, if you don't need it, delete it. Menu button. I don't need that one either. And I will add those back in because I just copy and pasted it anyway from code I've already written. So if I need it again, I'll just copy and paste it again. All right, this is our editor button. This one we actually do need because this is just like the B for bold, etc., etc. Now, we don't need all these console logs. Maybe that's why my old one was hogging so much memory, because I just had console logs all everywhere, logging giant objects, like the entire editor instance. Width fulls. That's probably not going to work. I wonder how long that bug was in there. LOL. All right, set image. That doesn't exist because this requires a specific plugin, which I'm not doing right now. Links. I probably do want to do links, which means I need to add the link. I don't need tags. I don't need models for this one. I don't need library data. Invariant, I think that's not something that I'll need either. This obviously gets used. I don't need a tag field. I don't need a related field. Don't need a list field or form props. Probably need a button, but I don't use that button. Maybe we can do just delete all unused ones and we'll start there. Editor extensions. So that's basically, I need to make editor extensions. And that's what I had in my, I did all this stuff where I was like, oh yeah, I'll just use all the keyboard shortcuts. And then I always forget to use the keyboard shortcuts that I was like, yep, just use the keyboard shortcuts, Will. You just do your super B to go to browser, and then I always just end up falling back to the Mac thing of like stretch everything out and pick which one you want, and it's so much slower, but it is so hard to get in the swing of boop. See, just did it again, and when all I wanted to do was go over here. Let's just copy this whole thing, and we're gonna go here, paste it. Editor extensions, we don't want low light. because we're not doing any code. This is a design thing for now. I feel like at some point what I'd want to do is, but that's something different. I think I want to be able to do, we're going to install the link extension because that's what I noticed. It was TipTap extension link. Bada boom. Now we'll go back here and that should exist. It does. Great. I do have that type, but it's in a different place now. We're just putting that in here. We don't need code block, code, or images. We don't need callout or highlight. We just need starter kit and links. And let's see how this does. All right, props with class name. That is something that we want now. So props with class name is one of my favorite utility types that I have. So in TypeScript, you pass like props that you want into components, blah, blah, blah. And there's this props with children that React exports. And basically what that does is it gives you, like, if you're wanting to write a component that allows components to be nested inside of it, like HTML structure, it gives you this prop that basically gives you all the types that React uses for that, so you don't have to like write them yourself manually. And so I did that with class name because like class name doesn't come by default, but there's a lot of times that you want to have class name optional string, and so I just make a little helper type that allows you to, like, it's a generic, so you can pass in all the other props that you want to be included as well, and then class name just gets included with it. It's one of my faves. Okay, content editor. So we're going to use the editor. We're going to give it some content. These are the props. We'll see if this is what I end up doing still. This is going to be fun. I think I can copy and paste some stuff once again. I'm on Tailwind version 4, which doesn't support plugins yet. One of the big plugins is like a Tailwind typography, which is great for this kind of stuff because it's like you can just write all this WYSIWYG stuff and it just gets formatted with some really nice defaults from that Tailwind plugin. Now you can see we don't have that type error because our extension includes the link extension. Yeah, we're going to end up changing a bunch of these colors here in a minute. Cool. All right. I think we're good for the most part. We'll just remove some of these, like the editor button that we're not gonna need. I'm getting better with my Vim motions. Here's a question for you, Jesse, since you're on here. And I still do all this, which is like, I just kind of like scroll down sometimes to like look through a file. Is there like a Vim way to just say like move all like lines below the fold up, if that makes any sense? Let's see, we want to go 15 down. I guess it's like I could just go 20 down, 5 down, and just keep like jumping big lines at a time. That could be one way to do it. But there's a reason scrolling is nice. It's just kind of like an easy slow time. All right, we're going to delete all these. I don't know how many there are, so we're just going to keep going. Wait, is that toggle bold? Oh, is this because... Oh, I think I did that for like... I did have a menu for like when I did small windows, like small screen sizes, because I would sometimes want to edit my blog posts on mobile, which... I don't know if I will be doing that with this at all. That doesn't feel reasonable. Okay, I think we've got our component that we want. Now we're going to save this. Oh, I bet it's named something different now. Function editor button. content editor. We're going to change it back to just editor. And that'll make us happy, right? Nope. Property name. That makes sense. Okay. So we want to call this description. Did I spell that right the first time? Delete that line. Let's go back to our browser and switch tab. Ooh. Doot, 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 doot. Oh, do, do. Yes. Haha. We've got some stuff just kind of working out of the gate. We can go here and provide it some default content. Just so we can see what it looks like to have that default content in there. Ooh, that is very padded because the other editor that I built was like very full screen. Sorry, which say that again? I just heard Jesse. Sorry, Jesse. Oh, I was just asking, like, I like using the scroll bar. I swear. I like using scroll to like to kind of like look through a file. If I'm not sure what I'm looking for, it's kind of how I just browse a file. Because it's in Vim, it's like it's very quick to get around when you know exactly what you're looking for, but sometimes I don't know what I'm looking for, or like, okay, I'm looking for the place, for instance, exactly right now. We have this, which has a giant padding on it now, and I want to do like outlines and stuff on it. And so I want to go find the component, like where all that stuff is kind of happening at. And I know it's in this file, and I know it's like kind of towards the top of this. So it's like much easier just to scroll there, in my opinion, than to try and like Vim motion, because I don't know the exact like string or word or thing that I'm looking for. Editor root. Okay, so this is our overflow X. That should be auto. Oh, sticky. Okay, so we did a bunch of this stuff. I don't think we want things to be sticky anymore. I don't want it to have like a X overflow. I don't really need the Z-index stuff. I do need the flex stuff though. Divide X, that's good. Border, bottom border gray. Does that exist? No. All right. I bet that padding's up here because this stuff is what gets passed into the, yep. I mean, look at these giant paddings. That is just insanity. But the other one was like literally a full screen editor, so like it made a lot more sense. But that is a 1,000,000% not what we need here. Much better. Let's see if this stuff works, guys. All right, so if you're here and you press H1, did it work? It says it worked. Oh, it did work, but because the plugin isn't working, let's see if this is, yeah. So it wrapped it in H1, but we don't have any styles. Control D down or Control G U. Does that like jump a bunch? Okay. Okay, yeah, same. Nothing wrong with scrolling. I have a mouse scroll enabled, but if my hands are on keyb, like that shortcut, I usually Control D U to scroll, which scrolls Vim half. Ooh, man. See, Jesse, this is why you're my Vim Yoda, because now, all right, let me try to look. All right, Control D and U. Ooh, that did not work. That was an indent. But I wonder if it's because I don't have, oh wait, because I'm in insert mode, you dummy. Ooh, all right, and then U. Oh, that's nice. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Also, I can see the stats on like restream stuff, and there's 73 of you on X, which that feels unlikely. Maybe it's like 73 people have stopped by, because I've only heard from Jesse and Emmett. So if there are others of you, feel free to chat and ask questions. But Jesse, there's only like one. It's saying one on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure that's you. So thank you for being my sole YouTube view. The next thing that we want to do is let's go ahead and pull up. So I am going to pull up this real quick because I want to grab, so my personal website is all in, we don't want this. No, I want it to go away. So that means I hit this button. Here we go. What's the shortcut? J. There we go. Don't really care about this either. We want to find tailwind.css. And we could probably hide this too. Close right doc. There we go. That's better for everybody. And so I in the Tailwind version 4, all of your configuration is in CSS and variables, which I love. But then what I had to do was basically like create all the pros utilities myself from the plugin, and like paste all of them in. So I had like really good default styles. So I'm just going to copy and paste them over to this other project just so I have some nice stuff that's nice kind of out of the box to work with. And we'll see if I have enough of it that I need to make that work. It's a lot of stuff because there's like a bunch of things. All right. Now we're starting to get into my own personal stuff that is not related to. There we go. All right. So let's copy that. Let's go to our CSS file here, which does not have like any styles. It's because we need another one of these. Yep. All right. Done. Let's just see if that, oh, it did work. And then there's going to be our next problem, because we probably don't want it to be like full-on prose. We probably want it to be like baby prose, because otherwise it'll just be giant unless I change the layout of everything, which I don't feel like I want to do. I don't think I'm going to be doing a lot of headings because it's like a description. So I think I'm going to be okay with. All right, we're going to close that now because we don't need it. And we're going to go back to here. And we're going to change this to prose, and we're going to go ahead and say prose small and see if this makes it just a little nicer. Does bold work? Yep. Italic. Italic works. Strike through works. We've got links. We're going to remove these buttons because we don't need them. Lists work. Numbered lists. Numbered lists work. Great. Man, TipTap. I love it. All right. Now we want to, let's look for code block. We don't want you anymore. You're just a waste of space. 14 down. We don't want inline code. We just want to delete up to here. Nope, we don't, because that's bold. I don't want bold. Let's go back up. Ooh. There we go. Much better. A little more space. Now I want to add some borders and some radii to match the other. Well, I locked the screen. Classic button. Let's let's go ahead and get that, get kind of like the outline. And I'm going to probably change up the heading to be kind of like the reverse, to look kind of like this, I think. Probably going to remove description as well, because it's pretty apparent what that big content block is for. I probably don't need that taking up space. So we'll go back to our create form. And we're going to find description, and we're just going to make this like a regular label. LOL, that's wrong. And we still want it to be there for accessibility reasons. Like we want the label to be associated. Rats. I do think I still need it to be the other type label. So this is also using something from the headless UI, which is their like fields. What's nice about their headless label and input components is they automatically generate IDs, and the IDs, they use like a field, like inside, if you're put everything inside of a field, the label, the editor, and like other fields, they automatically get, which means I need to change this one to 1 as well, so that it gets the ID prop automatically. So now if we go here and we reload and we inspect, just to kind of show y'all what it's doing, you can see this ID, headless UI / control R3. It's like a randomly generated ID. If we go up to this label here, it's got the same, that's not the right, is it the right one? R4, R3. Ooh, there's probably something going on because it's not getting the context passed down to it the right way, but we'll get there. We can see it in the title button. Is this the title button? Yep. All right. So if we go here, we can see that they've got the same. It's 4 R0. The ID on here is R0. And I didn't have to like manually track those. And then it will do the same if we put it in an invalid state and there's an error that's showing. The error will get a like describes by. So it handles a lot of like accessibility things for you right out of the gate. So like if I click title, it automatically focuses in the field for me without me having to do all of the work of tracking markup, IDs and HTML4s, etc., etc. All right, so we want to make this match the style of these other fields. So we're just going to take there. And I think I already actually wrote, a class for it down like at the bottom. I do everything in like one giant file when I'm building stuff. And then I like break it out once I've got like the first version of something done. And then it's easier to go back and edit things individually once a first version has been shipped and things have been broken down. It's easier to be like, okay, well now I only want to change this one thing. But like while I'm still building stuff, I do everything in one file because I don't know what's going to stick and what's going to go. So like going through all the trouble of making a bunch of files for components that I don't even know if I'm going to like keep around. That's like the way I prefer to do it. As you can kind of see, there's just like a ton of files. Cool. Okay. So I don't think I've done that yet. So the title input, which we can do here, we've got a raw input and we've got it wrapped by like, so what we're doing here is like this is like actually a componentized input, and it's got like the border, you go into it and it's got like the little focus ring on the outside. As you can kind of see, it pops up and shows. These have the same thing, but as you can see, this is like a compound input. There's like the input field, and then if we start typing the title, That's wild. I have no idea why it's just randomly changing colors. I wonder if, I don't know. That's crazy. We'll have to figure that one out. I've got it like automatically calculating what the slug will be below it so that you can kind of see it, and then it'll like send that for us to the back end without us like needing to edit a slug field. So these styles for like the input border are actually on like a wrapping div, and like the same with this stuff, because like this here's the input field and it's just got this like little label because it's kind of a compound field within a field kind of thing, where it's like this is for a source, and so like each source has a name and a URL, and I didn't want it to be like label like you're making a new source and then have like another label on top of the input from a design perspective, because I thought that would just not look as clean as something more like this. So it's going to be like kind of the same here. And once I kind of get settled on the final design, what I probably will try to do is create some kind of like very React composable way of adding these styles, these Tailwind styles to a component, and just saying like, this is the input border, but it's a div, or it's actually the input, add them to this. And I do that a bunch of different ways. And we'll figure that out when we get there. So we are going to put this one inside of the editor. There's going to be a div at the top of this. It's probably going to be this right here from the looks of it. Yep. Let's paste that in and just see what happens. And see how close we got to it just working. Ooh, good. Okay. So now we're going to go back and we're going to clean up the toolbar. And we're going to call this border primary 50. Because I believe that, no, that's when it's focused within, which we do want. Oh, but the focus is not going to be, oh, do we want there? We got a good design thing to try and figure out. I don't, primary, let's start here. Okay, so now we've got this issue where these are brighter than this, but they're the right color when they're focused. But we want those to be the lighter color, I think. And then when we're focused in, I think we'll want them to be the brighter color as well. So the way to do this in Tailwind is on the parent element, you add a group and you name it. So we're going to call this group editor. And then inside of this field, what we're going to do is we'll actually call divide primary 930. Is that what we're doing when it's not? Yep. 30. And then when you want, so we'll do group focus within, but then it's named. I like using, we could just call it group focus within colon this. But the problem with doing that, if it's not named, is like if this is inside another component that has a group class on some parent element and it's not named, just using the generic group just like makes like children components not specific, and so like they will get the things applied to it as well when we don't want it to be. So by naming it, we're just guaranteeing that the only time that this specific CSS will get applied is if the named parent is doing the same thing. So let's see if that worked. We've got it the right color when it's not focused, and then, oh, okay, so that's not working. I wonder if focus within can be used. Let's take it to the docs. These are not variants. Let's just type in group and see what shows up. Core concepts, group modifiers. Styling based on parent state, group dash modifier. So group dash hover. So it should technically work. Group item. So group hovers / whatever the name is, which is what we're doing. You can create one-off group modifiers on the fly. Oh, that's interesting. You can do it based on a class. Styling based on sibling. Let's look at focus within, because maybe that's what's getting us. So I don't see any reason why it shouldn't work. Just from reading through this stuff. Let me make sure I got the naming correct. Focus within, group focus within, /editor, group editor. Is this where, I bet, well no, because it did work. It works for the parent element. So the focus within is working even though it's a TipTap editor. Cool. Let's take it to the browser console and see what might be going on. Okay. We've got our focus within styles here. And they're showing up. This is where things get sketchy. Because these are not working. Oh, they're not. I bet that just doesn't work. Is this? No, they're sibling elements, but not direct sibling. But they could be actually. Let's see if this breaks anything. Ooh. Let's see if we can do it this way then. All right. So we're going to style based on sibling, but it can only be if it's an after. When you need to style an element based on the state of sibling element, mark the sibling with peer and use peer * modifier to style the target element. This makes it possible to do all sorts of neat tricks like floating labels without any JS. This pattern works with every pseudo class modifier. Won't work. Only previous siblings can be marked as peers, so it can't be the after. So we could make it work. Let's see if it works if we do this. All right, if we make this flex column reverse, and then we move our editor content up here. Let's just make sure it still looks like it's supposed to. And then if we go back to here. Oh, man. It automatically adds the wrapper on. I don't have any control over that. Let's see if this works, if I don't do something named. Feels very unlikely that it'll just magically work because it's technically the same functionality inside. Oh, it worked. So something about it being named wasn't working, but now it is. Heyo. We've got something that we can take a look at. All right. Let's go ahead and put that there, back down there, because that played nothing to do with it. Oh, I know what it was. Duh. It's always the easy stuff. I wasn't naming the parent the right way. See, I knew what I was doing. I just the most basic error ever. All right, I don't like the shape of these. They are very wide. So let's get those. Let's get our all of our editor buttons kind of cleaned up a little bit. Width 38 pixels. Why? Nobody wants that. What we want instead, we don't even want height full. We want to add px of 2 and a py of 1. And we're just going to see what that looks like. Ooh, already so much better. And then let's take it back to this. All right, we don't want our BG gray. We want BG primary, but we don't even want that. I set up a lot of like, all right, so we want background when it's active, like when this is on, we want the BG to be the foreground because we want it to be the cursor reverse. All right, BG foreground, text background, hover, BG foreground with like an opacity so it looks like we actually are doing something. And then same thing, we want there to be a hover, but we want it to be like very subtle. So we're gonna do 10% opacity, BG white. When it's focused, what is the background otherwise? I don't know, but we just want, let's look at it this way. We want the background to be, we actually want it to be transparent, I'm pretty sure. Because what I want to do, let's go back down here. All right, I kind of like that. I probably don't want too many of these pale, like got one there, got one there, got one there. This whole panel is kind of this little pale thing over here, which I still don't know if I love. The idea here is that like, why is this changing every single input? All right, that's like a category checkbox situation. But I think we're mostly there. I like this. There's a good little hover. We do need a focus state. So like if, all right, let's say we're here and we move focus to there. It has the default focus state, but we're not basic. We're not boring. So we want outline none. On focus, we are going to make the BG show up a little bit. We're going to do foreground 10. But then we're also going to do a ring. Let's see if we can do a small ring and see what that looks like. And then we are going to make the ring the primary color. What did we just use to make the focus of this whole thing? Ring primary 600. at 20% opacity. Let's just see how this looks. Keep things consistent when you can. I always prefer. All right. Okay. Okay. I do like that. That's nicer. Yeah, that looks good. Hello world. Except now we're going to change the color of that too, because that's currently not. That's like probably some like, oh, the prose. That's being handled all the way up here. Because I've got like a default prose color. There's a, well, now I'm going to bring this back. I need to get like shortcuts to make it the exact size that I need for this stream. There is, except I don't, yep, here we go. There are prose variants that give colors that I can control the colors for these. The problem is I don't know if these will work with my color system that I'm trying to do. Did it again. I could have just used the keyboard shortcut, but I didn't do it. Oh, I already do have the prose vars in here, and they're all using the right stuff. I think the difference is this is like another thing that I need to figure out. So the way what I'm doing to do the so it's like, but it's doing green because green is like the default primary. I'm just talking about a bunch of stuff that y'all have no idea what's going on. So let me take a minute to explain. I am generating like picking a color from one of these colors, and I am setting the primary color to that variable for these options. And then what I'm doing is I'm setting those as the style for this like authenticated div. So if we go here to the browser and we look here inside of this authenticated div, let me get to it. What you can see here is like we're setting all these variables on page. So it works for like a bunch of these things. But what it is not working, what I've noticed there's like a little bug with it currently is anything that I'm defining in, so this is all defined in theme. Anything that I'm defining in theme, so you can kind of see here, I've got all of my colors for like yellow, green, blue, purple. These are all like, this is like the default median color. This is like our foreground color. So it's like the dark one for text. And then there's this dark color, which is basically like a hover color. So that I don't have to like remember specific, okay, was it the 400 or the 600? That was like the hover color, like that kind of stuff. And so I do the same thing. So like, then what I do is like, I have a default primary color, and that color is green, and that just exists. And then what I do down here for all these other ones, so like my background is going to be the primary color of 0. And then my foreground color is going to be the 900. And then my muted color is like the foreground color at a 65% opacity. And then how I'm setting the prose variables is using all of these variables as well. And so it's kind of what is then supposed to happen is like they all like cascade down. LOL, cascading style sheets, CSS. That's what we were doing here. The problem is that when I'm setting these on this div here, none of the cascading, all of these up here are being set in stone at this time, because these exist at the root. Basically, they're still remembering this color. So like what I need to do is update the root. I think what I need to update is the root. And I need to remember how to do that. And you know what that means? This is like one of those perfect use cases, in my opinion, for ChatGPT, because like I know exactly what I want to be doing. I just don't remember the syntax. I want to set the root. I want to set CS variables on the root from a React component. What is the best way to do that? Let's figure out the best way to do this. All right, so should have guessed it would be a use effect. Set the CSS variable on the root element itself. So then I think, okay, dynamically updating it. Yep, that's what I thought. Key points, persistent. The approach sets the variable, so it's available globally, which is good. And then what I want to do is say like, is there a way to do this differently if I have many variables to set? Because then if I have many variables to set, like what I can do, like I just want to make sure that there's no syntax that is like a good way with batching. I figured it would be loops. And this is what I've already got anyway, so yeah, that's what I figured. It'd just be like loop it and still set property. Cool. Okay. Easy enough. Easy enough. Oh, use CSS. I like this. See, this is why it's fun sometimes, is like, I don't need this, and I probably don't have to do this, but I like hooks. Hooks are nice. So let's go here. Let's open the sidebar and let's add a new hook. We're going to call this one use root CSS. And we're going to call export function. What? Export function use root CSS. We're going to pass this these are going to be the variables. Variables are going to be a record string, root document element, object. You know, sometimes things just write themselves, but this is not right. It has some stuff that I need though, but this all needs to be wrapped into a use effect because it won't be available on server-side rendering, and we want this to re-render if variables change. And so that's a nice little hook. And then what I can do here is, instead of doing that, what we'll do is use, this is also like something, there's this, I think some people get this confused because you can have like, oh yeah, you have a hook and you get data that gets sent back from it. There's this pattern of like hooks that just do something for you and you don't care what it returns. It's kind of like this little black box. Like it's a way of putting some actions somewhere else and not caring about the return value. It's just doing something for you when that component gets mounted, and you don't have to think about it. And I really like that pattern when it makes sense. It can be really nice. All right, so we don't need this anymore. Get random primary, return CSS properties. I don't want that anymore. I want record string, which is nice because then I don't have to do any like type forcing. And since this is a hook, I don't have to have it pass an object. So I think I'm going to, since I'm only passing it one argument, I'm not going to put it into an object. That feels pointless when I can just do this. And now when we go back to our app, everything's going to be broken. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, it works. It works exactly how I wanted it to. And yay. Yay, yay, yay. Oh, this is so nice. So much better. Okay, so now we have all of this. I need to probably call it a day for now. But this was super fun. We got a TipTap editor, and now it gets bigger when it needs to get bigger. It doesn't overthink it. Does that categories thing keep getting moved down? Oh, that's like a justify between situation. Let's fix that real quick. Let's go back here. We're going to go to, that's like, oh, I noticed that, and now I can't unsee it, and it's probably a pretty quick fix. So, all right, flex 1. Are we doing like a justify between situation? We're doing a flex column with a gap of 3. That's not, all right, flex column. Preview field. All right, flex. Oh, we're doing a grid. That's why. That was a rookie mistake. I don't care to do a grid. All right, flex call, gap 2. Now we go back here, and now it's just exactly what we want it to be. Super fun. Cool, cool, cool. Well, now we have a WYSIWYG editor. I'm thinking of moving this save post button to be over here, kind of to the top. And then what I can do is make it sticky so that when I scroll, we'll see. We'll see if I need to end up doing that. But this is actually turning out really great. I'm enjoying this. The next part will be to add this to my Laravel model. Let's see how much work that would actually be at the moment. First, I need to, I've already got it in the database. We want create, is this posts, description, but it's not a text column. We want this to be a JSON column. Will that just work? Yes, it will. Description is now JSON. And I need to drop the DB anyway. Is there anything special that needs to be done? Let's find out. Back to the old chat GPT. If I am storing JSON in Laravel model, any special rules for doing that? When storing JSON, you can use JSON. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yep, just did that. Validation rules for JSON fields. Laravel's validation. Okay, so it can. So it's going to be still going to get sent over as text. I could require it as JSON, then to validate the structure of content. Ooh, that is interesting. And then you can cast it. Specify the attribute casting for JSON fields. This allows Laravel to automatically encode, decode JSON data as arrays or objects when interacting with the model. Well, I don't really need to interact with any of this, so I don't care to cast it because I don't want to interact with it. I don't need anything else. Can I just So if we go down here now to, so I've got HTTP requests, post it. I've got a store request. Description is now required, and now it is changed to JSON. And I don't think I'll need to do anything else to it. Should be that easy. Because then it'll just tell me if it's not valid JSON. Post controller. So if we're going to store it, we're going to make it. And honestly, that's it. That's like where that part happens because it's just the description. Title, description, select, grab the keys, put it in there. Problem solved. Man, I love Laravel. Laravel is just great. Okay, I think that's really all I needed on the back end to make that work. Let's just double check the edit, the edit path. We want to get post with the source and the preview image. We're going to generate the temporary URL. Inertia render. Sources, the post, which it will just retrieve the field that we want from it. And then I can just put that right in there. Cool. Okay. That's it. I think we got pretty far today. That was nice. Appreciate everybody being here. If you stopped by, if you are still here, great. We added TipTap. What you see is what you get. Boom. Then we're gonna push that, and we're done. Thank you all for joining the stream. This was fun. I think I want to do more of this. Maybe people will show up, maybe they won't. I don't know how many of you there are, if there are any of you still here. I'm not a very good streamer. I'm not very entertaining yet. But maybe that'll get better. Maybe that'll be different. Either way, that was super fun. So